Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's wonderful to see each and every one of you here this evening, and soon we're going to call Eliana Gans up to celebrate you becoming a bat mitzvah, but not quite yet. I actually want to just pause for a moment to think about Torah's creation story that gives us this day, the day of Shabbat, every week to celebrate, to take a break, and it should not be lost on us as we begin Labor Day weekend, that it is the labor movement in America that we can thank for a day off each week. They took Shabbat and actually made it a right in the workplace and other rights that we take for granted as a part of what's always been the case. People, men and women, fought very hard for those rights, and as you're getting some good sales on Labor Day weekend, think about those whose commitment, many giving their lives for, is what we benefit from today. And I'd like to call up, and I actually am, Risa Jacobson from the Board of Trustees of Temple Solel to share some announcements. Good to have you here, Risa.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I'm Risa Jacobson, member of the Temple Solel Board of Trustees. We are so glad to have everyone here tonight. Welcome. Torah study is held every Saturday morning from 9 to 10 a.m. via Zoom, and also serves as a minyan for anyone saying Kaddish. Temple Solel thanks Craig and Michelle Gans for supporting the service Oneg this evening in honor of the bat mitzvah of their daughter, Eliana Gans. Mazel tov. Our weekly e-news email contains opportunities to engage in the life of Solel. Take a moment to read it and get involved in any activity that appeals to you. And a reminder to be aware of your surroundings and make yourself aware of the exits. Remember, if you see something, say something. To make sure we can all enjoy Shabbat together in peace, please take a moment now to verify that your cell phone and all other electronic devices are silenced and put away inside a pocket or purse. And let's welcome Shabbat together. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. So I'm going to ask our cantorial soloist, Todd Herzog, to talk about a setting that he wrote, composed for Psalm 27.
So Thank you, Rabbi Linder. It's a tradition during the month of Elul, which is the month we're in right now, leading up to the high holidays, that we sing Psalm 27, which talks about not fearing, not dreading, because God is with us. And so the words are Adonai Ori V'Yishi. I taught it last week. If you missed it last week or you weren't with us last week, I'll teach it again. It goes like this. Adonai Ori V'Yishi Mimi Ira Would you like to try that with me? Adonai Ori V'Yishi Mimi Ira. The second part just goes Adonai Ma'oz Chayai Mimi Efchad. So let's try that part together. Adonai Ma'oz Chayai Mimi Efchad. That's the whole thing, so we'll do it together. Adonai Ori V'Yishi Mimi Ira Adonai Ma'oz Chayai Adonai Ma'oz Chayai Mimi Efchad. One more time just so we get this. Adonai Ori V'Yishi Mimi Ira Adonai Ma'oz Chayai Adonai Ma'oz Chayai Mimi Efchad.
On page 2 is the blessing for kindling our Shabbos lights, and would like to invite Craig, Michelle, Ava, Eliana, Gans to come on up, and Michelle will give you the honor of kindling our Shabbos lights. With proud grandparents and family here tonight and friends.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner Shel Shabbat.
Eliana, if you would lead us in
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho b'ahava uv'ratzon hinchilanu zikaron l'maaseh v'reishit ki hu yom techila l'mikrahe kodesh zecher l'tziat mitzrayim Kivanu v'acharta ve'otanu kidashta mikol ha'amim בשבת קודשך באהבה ורצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן. לחיים.
Good year? Good week? We continue on page 110. 110, or Chadash. I'm actually looking. Oh, there we go. There we go. There we go. The third line from the bottom of this prayer is or Chadash, that the lights should shine upon lights from Zion. May they bring radiance into our lives and into our Shabbat tonight.
Shine a new light upon Israel. Shine that light on our souls. Shine a new light on our generation, and we will shine that light for all to know.
Take a moment just to feel that light, that sense of holiness that Shabbat brings upon us. It is an incredible gift and sweetness, and we need that renewal. Take a moment to feel that. And then bringing that with us, we turn to page 146, and we rise in body or in spirit for the Baruch Hu. Page 146. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach, HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
נצח לעולם ועד.
On page 147, please join me. Adonai, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify to your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, let not your glory depart from us. Help us to become co-workers with you and endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim.
Ahavat olam bet Yisrael Amcha ahavta Amcha ahavta Torah u'mitzvot chukim u'mishpatim Otanu lemadeta Al ken Adonai Eloheinu eshokbenu uvkumenu nasiach bechukecha v'nismach b'divrei toratecha ובמצוותיך לעולם ואין, כי הם חיינו ואורך ימינו, ובהם נגע יומם ולילה, נגע יומם ולילה. ואהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad, Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
Please be seated. On page 150 is the Ve'ahavta, and I'd like to invite Spencer Goldberg to help lead.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levacha ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ולצעד בדרך ושעות בחד ובקומך וקשרתם לאות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים אלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיהם אשר הוצאתי אתם מארץ מצרים להיות להם לאלוהים.
Ani Adonai Elohim, Adonai Elohim Emet.
That's wonderful. Spencer has his bar mitzvah next week, I think, right? Yeah, next week. Wonderful. So our next prayer is the Geula on page 151 and 152, and it's a good opportunity for us to think about that we're in this month of Elul, and this year as we're preparing for the High Holy Days, each week there's a theme to think about, and as we enter the second week of Elul, we are suggesting that a good theme to think about is waking up. What do we need to wake up to in ourselves? What do we need to become more aware of? Maybe that we need to repair. So this is a good theme, and it relates to Mi Chamocha, because Mi Chamocha tells us that this world needs some redemption, and we can be part of making it better. So may we think about how we can do that, as on 152, we join in the Mi Chamocha.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la la la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh, Torah tehilo oseh vele, Torah tehilo oseh vele. Malachutecha rabu banecha, okei hayam lifnei Moshe, ze elianu ve'amru, ze elianu ve'amru, Adonai yimlo le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimlo le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 ya la la la, ya la 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 ya la la la.
On page 153, please join me in the Hashkivenu in the English. Give us a place to rest, O God. Shelter us in the long, soft evening shadows of your truth. You are true protection and safety. In your protection, we find love and acceptance. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, vehamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, vehamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ushmor Tzeitenu uvoenu lechaim ulshalom ve'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, vehamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu leshalom, vehamidenu shomreinu lechaim.
We include in our prayers thoughts for healing for friends and family who are in need of refuat hanefesh and refuat haguf, healing of the spirit and healing of the body. We keep in our thoughts Paul Solon, Carol Brillman, Kit Kasich, Steve Gubin, Sarah Hadassah Bat Yehudit Vidaniel, Susan Zuber-Chal, Eileen Schwartz, Sandy Levitt, Dave Nichols, Myra Greenberg, Leah Dombrow, Gloria Litzik, Emmanuel Kalu, Helen Epstein, Jonathan Cohen, Roberta Scharf, Mel Schlesinger, Dorothy Gerbarg-Barzin, Joni Thompson, Joshua Friedman, Marcia Asmov, Marty McGarry, Leon Wall, Narendra Sood, Caitlin Friedman, Michael Morris, Rebecca Feldberg, Michael Braberman, Barry Fask, Diane Harris, Evie Lieberman, Gary Pageon, Marcus Watts, David Barrett, Anna Shearzer, Susan Siegel, Scott Tucker, Diana Turk, Judy Seplow, Ilana Hanna Bat Gila, David Lieberman, Dara Marks Marino, Ronald Philman, Phil Gordon, Marilyn Rosenblum, Susan Schill, Stephen Watts, Rabbi Alex Braver, and Harriet Joslet Bartek. And I'll go around if anyone wants to add any other names. Those at home, you may want to recite names as well. And we turn together to the prayer for healing that's in the back inside cover of our prayer book and join together.
El na rafana la rafana lanu El na rafana la rafana lanu Dear God of our ancestors, dear God of our ancestors, help us renew our faith, help us renew our faith. Grant us a perfect healing, grant us a perfect healing. Bring peace to all our days, bring peace to all our days. El na rafana la rafana lanu El na rafana la rafana lanu Restore our strength of body, restore our strength of body. Help clarify our minds, help clarify our minds. Refresh our tired spirits, refresh our tired spirits. Rejuvenate our life, rejuvenate our life. El na rafana la rafana lanu El na rafana la rafana lanu Thank you for all these blessings, thank you for all these blessings throughout our days and nights, throughout our days and nights. We celebrate the journey, we celebrate the journey. This precious gift of life, this precious gift of El na rafana la rafana lanu El na rafana la rafana lanu לפנה לנו.
We continue on page 155 with the Amidah. I invite you to rise in body or in spirit.
Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, גומל חסדים טובים וקונה הכל וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם למען שמו ואהבה מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן ברוך אתה אדוני מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיי הכל, אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיי הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל ברוך אתה אדוני חיי הכל, אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים כל יום, הללוכה סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. Together in the middle of page 164, as a community, let us pray for peace. Grant us peace, your most precious gift, O eternal source of peace, and give us the will to proclaim its message to all the peoples of the earth. Bless our country as a safeguard of peace, its advocate among the nations. May contentment reign within our borders, health and happiness within our homes. Strengthen the bonds of friendship and fellowship among all the inhabitants of our world. Plant virtue in every soul, and may the love of your name hallow every home and every heart. Baruch atah Adonai, Avarech Mo Yisrael, Bashalom.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Ki Ata Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Ki Ata Melech Adon Lechol HaShalom. Shalom Rav Al Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם.
Before we take a moment for silent prayer, the poet Denise Levertov offers a reflection, perhaps an important way to wake us up, that your presence in the world is life-sustaining. May that knowledge answer any doubt. As she writes, just when you seem to yourself nothing but a flimsy web of questions, you are given the questions of others to hold in the emptiness of your hands. Songbird eggs that can still hatch if you keep them warm. Butterflies opening and closing themselves in your cupped palms, trusting you not to injure their scintillant fur, their dust. You are given the questions of others as if they were answers to all you ask. Yes, perhaps this gift is your answer.
יהיו לרצון עם רפי והגיון ליבי לפניך. אדוני צורי, אדוני
First, I just have to say how great it is to see so many of you here tonight. Some people I haven't seen in quite a while. Just so wonderful to be together in the sanctuary. Really wonderful. So, do you remember as a child or a teenager or a young adult when you had an uncomplicated view of leaders? People were either good or bad, none of this ambiguity stuff. We had heroes, and they were pure of heart and only did what was right. A good leader was wholly good, and a bad leader was completely evil. That makes the world so much simpler. You know who to like and who to disdain, who to vote for, and whose political sign you would like to rip from the ground. Perhaps there are a few people we could point to as saints or devils. But the truth is that most people, and this includes most political leaders now and through the ages, are much more complex. Like us, they are filled with a variety of ambitions, beliefs, and impulses. But perhaps unlike us, if they are in power, their foibles and misconceptions can have grave consequences. So perhaps this explains why, though we need political leaders, the Torah is wary of them. The Torah gives a lukewarm response to the idea of a national leader. In this week's Torah portion, Shoftim, the focus turns to the subject of having a ruler for the new Israelite nation. God tells Moses to tell the people, quote, "If, after you have entered the land that the Lord your God has assigned to you and taken possession of it and settled in it, you decide, I will set a king over me, as do all the nations about me. You shall be free to set a king over yourself, one chosen by the Lord your God." There are a few tip-offs here that so much power resting in one person may not be a great idea. First, this portion describes other societal roles as required. It tells us, for example, that we must have judges. You shall appoint judges and officials, begins our portion in Deuteronomy chapter 6, verse 18. And it goes on to say that we also are required to have priests and prophets, and it tells us what their roles should be. Only of the political office of monarch does it say in a very wishy-washy way that we can have a king if we want one. Only this role is optional. Perhaps that is an effort to downplay the importance of the position or to warn us that it can be very problematic. Also, we see that the text says, when you, meaning the people, will say, we want to be like the other nations and have a king. Usually, Torah tells us to be unlike the other nations. The other nations are not viewed favorably. They are idol worshipers, and they don't have a Torah with words of wisdom to keep them on the right track. But here we are allowed to be like the other nations. In other words, God is making a concession to the Israelites' desire to be like others and have an earthly ruler. Having agreed to a political leader for the people, the Torah immediately tells us to put guardrails on this person. The Torah tends to be very clear-eyed about human nature. So, as the Jewish Publication Society Torah commentary points out, we are warned in this portion about the tendency of rulers towards excess. The people are in essence told to make sure that the leader is not taxing them for his own benefit, but only for the enhancement of the greater good. The portion says that the king should not amass wives or horses or gold or silver. We can no doubt think of leaders today, I'm not asking for names, who we feel have lined their pockets with help from their political positions. Already thousands of years ago, our faith warns us to guard against this. In addition, the leader's power is to be limited to following the laws of the Torah. The ruler is to have their own copy of the Torah, or at least of Deuteronomy, and to refer to it frequently. The portion says that this person should be careful not to deviate from the instruction either to the right or to the left. While I certainly would not like to see us live in a theocracy today, I appreciate that here, already several thousand years ago, our tradition taught that a king or a ruler's power should not be absolute. Rather, it should be limited and guided by laws which the ruler did not, him or herself, create. This was revolutionary, and still today, we need to make sure that our political leaders are following the laws of the land. I think it would surprise most of us, and frankly, most people, to realize that the idea of a constitutional monarchy really is first heard of in this Torah portion. While we don't talk a lot about most of the kings of Israel, their names and some aspects of their legacy are recorded in our Tanakh, our Bible, particularly in the books of Kings and Chronicles. If we look at the record of the Jewish kings, they turn out to be a mixed lot. Over the years, many fell prey to idolatry, despite the Torah's instruction to follow its laws and faith. Some of the leaders were downright inept. However, some are thought of as successful or good kings, such as David, Solomon, Hezekiah, and Josiah. But even these were flawed rulers who committed some major sins. David was an impressive military ruler who increased the size of Israel's land and who stayed committed to monotheism. But he also committed adultery and saw to the death of his mistress's husband. Solomon was known for his wisdom, but he nonetheless indulged in the excesses that this very portion speaks against. He was said to have thousands of horses and around 1,000 wives and concubines. Just a few. The Tanakh enshrines for posterity the good and the bad aspects of these legendary figures. Because it does so, we do not idolize leaders, but are able to see them more accurately as multidimensional. And we are reminded of the importance of limiting a leader's power. Another important teaching for our political leaders today is found in 1 Kings. Here, advice on leadership is offered to King Rehoboam. Rehoboam was Solomon's son and the last monarch of the United Kingdom. The people were imploring him to reduce taxes and lighten the load on them that was produced by his father Solomon's many projects. Rehoboam asked his advisors what he should do, and they advised him, saying, quote, "If today you will be a servant to the people and serve them and give them a favorable answer, they will always be your servants." Rehoboam failed to follow this advice, and the kingdom split in two. This gives us a clear picture of one important aspect of being a leader. The person should view him or herself as serving the people, not the other way around. As Rabbi Jonathan Sachs notes, this is an incredible transformation from how kings and royalty have generally been seen. Rabbi Sachs writes, "The radical nature of this transformation can be seen by recalling the two great architectural symbols of the world's first empires, the Mesopotamian ziggurats and the Egyptian pyramids. Both are monumental statements in stone of a hierarchical society. Broad at the base, many people, leading up to the narrow top. The people at the bottom, that large base, are there to support the leader. But think about it. The great Jewish symbol, the menorah, inverts that triangle. Instead, it is narrow at the base and broad at the top. The leader is there to serve the people." While we don't today have kings in the United States, we do have political leaders. And it won't be long till we will be going to the polls to pick our next leaders. We often choose based on how we think these candidates will vote on issues, and that is indeed very important. But our tradition teaches us some other considerations for picking political leaders. May we look for leaders who are law-abiding, humble, and who desire to serve the people. Amen.
Amen. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל, ואמרו אמן. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל. יעשה שלום, יעשה שלום, שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל.
Rabbi Steele, thank you for that message. Before we turn to Elena, would like to invite those that are celebrating a wedding anniversary this month. This is the month of September. Wow, how'd that happen? So, wedding anniversary, September, going once? Yeah, here we go, Joseph, September. Yeah. Wendy and Bruce, beautiful, come on up. Mark and Barbara, lovely. And stand right at the ark and, yeah. So we look at the beautiful, beautiful prayer, Shir HaShirim, I am my beloved's, and my beloved is mine. God of all generations, we give thanks for the blessings that have graced these couples. We look back upon the day of their union with thankfulness. So may this joy be with each of you always. Give these couples a peaceful dwelling where the contentment and love find a resting place. May your home continue to be a home which radiates the light of faith, one which honors our membership in the house of Israel, our people. O God, grant each couple that you may grow old together in health and live in gratitude for your marriage to one another, as we say together, Amen.
Amen.
And with that, you have an inspiration right now?
I have a feeling where it's a good sign, right?
It is a good sign. It's a simon
Simon
tov.
tov, mazel tov, simon tov, mazel tov, simon tov, mazel tov, simon tov, ye'elanu, 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 olechol Yisrael, ye'elanu, ye'elanu, olechol Yisrael, ye'elanu, ye'elanu, olechol Yisrael, ye'elanu, ye'elanu, olechol Yisrael.
Mazel tov. Everybody chose the matzah ball squishy. Next month, you're going to be charging the bima for your anniversary celebration. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this. Oh, excuse me. I guess it's too late to invite the couples to open the ark for Elenu, so I'll do that. Todd, thanks for the reminder. Page 282, Elenu.
Please rise. Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet gedula liotzer bereshit, shehu noteh shamayim v'yoser haaretz, umoshav yikaro bashamayim mimal, ushchinatu zo begovhei meromim, hu Eloheinu einod, v'anachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
May be seated. Now, we turn our thoughts to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. Invite you to rise as the names of your loved ones are read, after which we will stand with you in community for the Mourner's Kaddish on page 294. In the period of Shiva, the 7 days of mourning, Alice Helfman, Art Secunda, David George Kirkpatrick. In the period of Shloshim, the 30 days of mourning, Randy Newman, Barry Rosenblum, Dr. Dennis Randall, Suhe Nayeli Fuentes, Farrell Sachs, Sheila Roman, Arthur Glasser, Judith Giller Linewold. And within the first year, Arlene Bonim, Ellie Ziegler, Matt Schott, Sandra Friedman, and those whose yahrzeit occurs this time of year. Lillian Dines, Stephanie Krut-Steinberg, Donald Litz, Howard Lichterman, Gert Baum, Philip Chapman, Frederick Dolgonos, Edna Goldberg, Philip Hollander, Michael Wolf, Sophia Mishkin, Michael Wolf, Marjorie Levine, Tilly Benson, Edith Strickstein, Harry Epstein, Paula Myers, Edward Werner, Lynn Jacobson, Robert L. Spencer, Joan Reif, Glenn Allen Kirsch, Dr. Gerald Frumes, Victor Neufeld, Ruth Gray, Ari Hannon, Jeanette Galst, Harry Green, Libby Lanson, Joyce Kessler, Arlene Rosenson, Elizabeth Shapiro, Robert Spiceman, Philip Miller, Benjamin Weinberg, Sidney Hausman, Hyman Zittimer, Mary Ann Lauchheim, John Washburn, Clem Farber, Geraldine Warren, Arnold Fine, Larry Katzman, Fred Zechman, Kelvin Levitt, Vivian Alpert. Are there any other names you wish to remember this Shabbat? And within your homes, invite you to also say a name that you're thinking of, as together we rise in community for the mourner's Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, v'alma divrach kerute, v'amlich malchute, b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal. Shemei dekudsha berichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'amiran v'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us, to Israel, and to all the world, to which we say amen. You may be seated. So, Eliana, I'm going to have you come back up here and hold this challah, and together giving thanks for bread that nourishes us physically and spiritually together. Baruch atah Adonai
Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
So now you get the first piece. Ooh, nice choice. Nice choice. So it is a tradition during the month of Elul. Actually, the tradition is in our shacharit, our morning prayer, that we blow the shofar. But you're going to hear it tonight. And so you up for a Tekiah Gedolah, or yeah? My call? Well, my call is Tekiah Gedolah. There you go. That's a Gedolah. That's Gedolah. So as you catch your breath, one of the themes of the month of Elul, of course, through the high holidays, is Teshuvah, as returning to our best self, as we'll hear in music.
We return, we return, we return, we return, we return, return again. We return, we return, we return, we return, we return, return again and again to love, to love, we return again to love. Ashivenu לשנה טובה תיקתנו, לשנה טובה תיקתנו. We return, we return, we return, we return, we return, return again. We return, we return, we return, we return, we return, return again and again to you. To you. To you. We return again to you.
Baruch atah b'voecha, blessed is each of you for coming to create a community this Shabbat. Baruch atah b'tzeitecha. May you be blessed as you go out together, returning to love. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.
And for so Voya, we're going to let other people come up just to grab. It's good. So the challah's up for grabs. Come on up. Yeah, there we go. Nice job, Spencer. Hey, Caleb, how you doing? Good. There's more challah. Don't be bashful. Lovely, Josh. Yeah. How you doing? Good. So, what year? You're a freshman. Where? Upper L. Yeah. Speak so. Yeah. And so, a couple weeks already. Yeah. How's it going? Yeah. That's a high school. Starting high school is kind of like a life cycle in itself. I hope it goes well. Yeah. Good seeing you. first of all, it's a great question. It's a great question. First of all, they all have the